the hidden recesses of the city, where the pulse of neon lights fades into the hum of the earth, Pemulway prepared to commune with the Songline. This was no ordinary connection. Tonight, the ancestors called to him with a force that transcended time and space. The concrete and steel of the city, the synthetic heart of a world driven by technology, felt distant here, as if the very essence of the earth was reclaiming its hold. Pemulway sat cross-legged on the floor, his hands cradling the Songline fragment, its ancient energy thrumming through his veins, its glow casting a warm ethereal light across his face. This was more than a ritual. It was a return, a step beyond the physical realm. As he closed his eyes, the world around him began to dissolve, the sharp edges of reality softening into the timeless embrace of the dreamtime, where the whispers of his ancestors awaited.
This energy, it's stronger than before, the Songline, it's pulling me. I feel it deep in my bones, in my spirit. The connection is unlike anything I've felt, a powerful current surging through every fiber of my being, binding me to something far greater than myself. What do you want to show me?
The air around him thickened with a palpable presence, charged with the weight of history and the voices of those who walked the earth long before him. As Pemulway's vision adjusted to the dreamtime, he turned slowly, his breath catching in his throat. Out of the shifting shadows, the silhouettes of his ancestors began to take shape, emerging like phantoms from another world. Their forms were indistinct, yet their eyes blazed with a light that cut through the darkness. Glowing with ancient wisdom, with the knowledge of countless generations, they carried the gravity of time itself, their gaze piercing through him as if seeing not just the man he was, but the legacy he was meant to uphold. The Songline's pull intensified, wrapping around him like a cloak, urging him forward. There was no turning back now. The path before him was illuminated by the light of his ancestors, and he knew, whatever they were about to reveal, it would change everything. Ancestor, Pemulway, you have crossed through time and space. The Songline is fractured, and with it the balance of all worlds, Pemulway.
Why is this happening? How can I restore what's been broken?
Ancestor, you must mend the Songline, or everything, past, present and future, will unravel. But beware, dangers surround you in every realm.
As the ancestors' words faded, Pemulway felt a surge of pain, a raw, visceral agony that coursed through him, echoing the Songline's fracture. The pain was a wildfire, scorching every nerve, a searing reminder of the burden he carried. His spirit trembled, but he anchored himself to the whispers of his ancestors, refusing to let go.
Pemulway awoke with a gasp, his heart pounding. He was back in the hideout, the weight of his ancestors' warning pressing heavily on his chest. But something was wrong. He could feel it in the air, a dissonance, a fracture. Vesper.
Pemulway, finally, you're awake. We've been trying to reach you for days. The enforcers, they've ramped up their hunt. It's getting worse.
Days? How many? What have I missed?
In the sterile, high-tech heart of the Enforcer Command Center, the air buzzed with a relentless cold efficiency, every surface gleaming with the clinical precision of machinery designed for control. The room pulsed with the soft hum of advanced technology, screens flickering with streams of data, each one a thread in the web of surveillance that stretched across the city. Commander Cade stood at the center of this synthetic hive, her presence as sharp and unyielding as the metal walls that enclosed her. Her eyes, cold and calculating, narrowed as she surveyed the holographic map before her, its three-dimensional projections casting an eerie glow over her stern features. Every detail was scrutinized, every anomaly noted. This was her domain, where every piece on the board moved at her command. As she paced in front of the map, the rhythmic tapping of her fingers against her side mirrored the relentless ticking of her mind. A mind that never rested, always planning, always anticipating the next move. Cade's thoughts were a cascade of possibilities and contingencies, her strategy as complex as the circuitry that powered the room. Her gaze flickered across the map's glowing grids, each pulse of light a potential threat or opportunity. To the enforcers under her command, she was the embodiment of order and precision, a force of nature within the technological world she commanded. Yet beneath the surface, there was a restlessness, an insatiable drive to outmaneuver her opponents, to bend the chaotic forces of the city to her will. Here, in the heart of the command center, Cade was more than just a leader. She was a hunter, relentless and unyielding, and her prey would soon find themselves caught in her carefully laid trap. Cade.
Pemulway. Elusive, dangerous. But everyone has a weakness. His connection to the Songline, that's his. And I'll exploit it. Spread the word. We've found intel on a powerful fragment hidden in the ruins of Sector 9. Let him hear it. Let him believe it's true. When he arrives, we'll be waiting.
Enforcer. Yes, Commander. He won't slip away this time. Cade watched with cold satisfaction as the false information began to weave its way through the city's underbelly, slipping into the dark corners where whispers turned into rumours and rumours into truth. The data was a carefully crafted lie, designed to spread like a virus through the networks of informants, mercenaries, and shadow brokers that thrived in the city's depths. Each node it touched amplified the deception, embedding it deeper into the underworld's consciousness. In this sprawling urban jungle, where secrets were currency and information was power, Cade's lie was the perfect lure, irresistible, undeniable. She knew the currents of the city well, like a predator knowing the movements of its prey. The underworld was a labyrinth of shifting alliances and hidden agendas, but Cade had mastered its pathways. As the misinformation seeped through the cracks, carried by whispers in alleyways and encrypted messages across darknet channels, she could almost feel the tension rising, like the tightening of a noose. It was only a matter of time before Pemulway took the bait, drawn in by the promise of the fragment, unaware of the trap that awaited him. Cade's eyes remained fixed on the map, the satisfaction in her gaze deepening as she imagined the moment when the trap would spring shut. In her mind, the game was already won, the pieces moving exactly as she had planned. For Cade, victory was inevitable. Pemulway was merely walking into the web she had so meticulously spun. Cade.
I've studied you, warrior. I know how to draw you out. This time the Songline won't save you.
The decaying ruins of Sector 9 loomed ahead, a skeletal reminder of the city's forgotten past, where the bones of a once thriving district now lay in silent decay. The towering structures, once vibrant with life and industry, now stood as hollow shells, their exteriors crumbling under the relentless march of time. Twisted metal beams jutted out like broken limbs, and shattered windows gaped like empty eyes, staring out at a world that had long since moved on. The air was thick with the scent of rust and damp, the remnants of a forgotten era clinging to every surface. Inside, a labyrinth of shadowed hallways and crumbling walls awaited, each step pregnant with danger, the silence oppressive and absolute. This was a place where even the echoes of the past had grown faint, swallowed by the relentless encroachment of nature and neglect. The walls, once sturdy, now seemed to breathe with the weight of years, threatening to collapse at the slightest disturbance. Every corridor was a potential dead end, every turn a possible trap, and the darkness clung to the ruins like a shroud, hiding the secrets and the dangers that lurked within. Pemulway and Vesper moved cautiously through the darkness, their footsteps barely audible over the oppressive silence, each step a careful measured movement as they navigated the treacherous terrain. The ruins seemed to breathe around them, the walls closing in as if aware of their presence, as if the very fabric of the place had a memory, a pulse. Vesper's breath came in quiet, controlled bursts, her eyes flickering from shadow to shadow, ever vigilant, sensing the unseen threats that might be lying in wait. Her heart pounded in her chest, yet she kept her fear tightly bound, knowing that any mistake could rouse whatever dangers lay dormant within these forsaken walls. Pemulway, though equally tense, felt something deeper, a pull that resonated within him, an almost imperceptible tug from the Songline, urging him forward. It was a force beyond the physical, guiding him through the maze of decay with a purpose he couldn't fully explain, but one he trusted implicitly. Yet, even as the songline beckoned, the weight of the silence pressed down on him, thick and suffocating, as though the air itself was alive with anticipation. The ruins seemed to watch them with a malevolent patience, the remnants of a forgotten world waiting for the right moment to strike, to remind them that here, in this place of shadows, they were intruders walking on borrowed time. Vesper.
This is a trap. We need to get out. Now.
Pemulway.
Not yet. There's something they don't want us to see. Something we can't afford to overlook. We've come this far. We can't turn back now.
As they carefully navigated the traps, their senses heightened by the ever-present danger, they stumbled upon a hidden room concealed behind layers of dust and decay. The door creaked open to reveal a space untouched by time yet heavy with its passage, a forgotten command centre buried in the bowels of Sector 9. The walls were lined with dusty monitors, their screens flickering faintly, each one displaying streams of encrypted data that pulsed with an eerie ghostly light. The monitors, relics of a bygone era, were like silent sentinels, guarding secrets long left behind. In the centre of the room, a single terminal hummed softly, its glow a stark contrast to the surrounding darkness, as if it had been waiting patiently through the years, anticipating their arrival. The air was thick with the soft hum of the terminal, a constant low vibration that seemed to resonate through the walls themselves. The faint buzz of electricity coursed through the ancient wires, a reminder of the forgotten power that still surged beneath the crumbling stone. The room seemed to sigh around them, the distant sound of crumbling stone echoing faintly, as if the ruins were aware of their intrusion. Vesper wasted no time, her instincts honed by years of survival in the underbelly of the city. She swiftly moved to the terminal, her hands a blur of motion as her fingers danced across the keyboard with practiced precision. The soft, rhythmic clicks echoed through the silent room, a delicate counterpoint to the oppressive weight of the atmosphere around them. Each keystroke was deliberate, purposeful, as she felt the gravity of the moment settle on her shoulders. Whatever lay hidden within these encrypted files was crucial, perhaps the key to unravelling the Enforcer's insidious plans. The terminal's screen flickered, casting a cold blue light that bathed Vesper's face in an eerie glow. Lines of code and symbols flashed rapidly across the screen, a digital cascade that Vesper deciphered with a focused intensity. The light created sharp shadows across her features, highlighting the urgency and determination in her eyes. Every second counted. The deeper she delved, the more the tension in the room thickened, as if the very walls were holding their breath. Behind her, Pemulway stood vigilant, his senses attuned to every subtle shift in the air, every creak of the ancient structure. His gaze swept the room, taking in the dusty monitors and the faint hum of old machinery. He knew that what Vesper was uncovering could change the course of their fight, could expose the Enforcer's darkest secrets. But he also knew that danger could strike at any moment. As the terminal continued to spill its secrets, the dark and dangerous plan of the Enforcers began to take shape before them, a looming threat that would test the limits of their strength and resolve, and threaten everything they had sworn to protect. Vesper.
These are Enforcer files. Plans to harness the Songline's power. They're not just hunting us. They're trying to control the Songline.
Pemulway.
If they succeed, everything is lost. We need to get this information back to the team. Now.
With the files finally downloaded, a flicker of triumph passed between them, but it was fleeting. The building, as if sensing its secrets were being stolen, responded with sudden violent intent. The walls began to shudder and shift, grinding as ancient mechanisms long dormant groaned to life. Steel panels slid into place with a menacing hiss, sealing off their escape routes one by one. Automated turrets emerged from hidden recesses in the walls, their cold, unblinking eyes locking onto the intruders with lethal precision. The once silent corridors erupted with the whirring of turrets as they powered up, the cold mechanical sound reverberating through the space. The unmistakable click of laser grids activating sent beams of crimson light slicing through the air, crisscrossing the hallways in a deadly web. The very structure of the building seemed to creak and groan in protest. as if the centuries-old stone and metal were straining under the sudden resurgence of energy. The oppressive atmosphere thickened, the walls closing in as if the building itself was alive, intent on crushing them within its grasp. What had once been a silent tomb now transformed into a deadly trap, and every second spent inside increased the peril. Vesper.
We're running out of time. Move.
Pemulway.
Follow me. There's a way out, but we have to be fast.
They raced through the collapsing structure, the ground trembling beneath their feet as they narrowly avoided the traps designed to end them. The walls cracked and splintered with each passing second, chunks of debris raining down from above, turning every step into a life-or-death gamble. The air was thick with dust and the acrid scent of burning circuits, the building's once formidable frame now crumbling into chaos around them. Their movements were a desperate blur of speed and instinct, each twist and turn a frantic effort to outpace the collapse that threatened to swallow them whole. The cacophony of destruction grew louder, more relentless, as the very foundation of the structure seemed to give way beneath the weight of its own decay. Just when it seemed there was no escape, they spotted a sliver of daylight, a side exit, half buried in rubble. Summoning every last ounce of strength, they burst through the narrow opening, gasping for breath, as they tumbled into the open air, the building's final death throes echoing behind them. Back at the hideout, the atmosphere was suffused with a palpable tension, every breath drawn in the room thick with unspoken fears and unyielding resolve. The team gathered around the central console, its soft flickering glow casting sharp shadows across their faces as they pored over the newly uncovered data. The weight of their discovery was almost unbearable, pressing down on their shoulders with the gravity of what they now understood, the full terrifying scope of the Enforcer's plans. The room, once a sanctuary from the chaos outside, now buzzed with an uneasy energy, every corner saturated with the looming dread of what was to come. The soft buzz of machinery hummed in the background, providing a steady, almost deceptive sense of normalcy, while the distant hum of the city outside served as a reminder of the world that continued to spin, oblivious to the storm brewing within these walls. The rustle of paper, as maps and documents were spread out across the table, added a sharp tactile element to the scene, each sound slicing through the quiet like a knife as they laid out the pieces of the dark puzzle they were trying to solve. Vesper and Pemulway entered, their bodies still coated in dust and grime from their harrowing escape, their faces etched with the lines of exhaustion yet hardened with a fierce determination. Each movement they made was deliberate, purposeful, as though every step carried the weight of their mission. Their eyes, though weary, gleamed with a shared, unspoken resolve. They had stared down death and walked through the jaws of destruction, but the knowledge they now carried was a weapon far more potent and far more perilous. As they approached the console, the room fell into a heavy silence, all eyes turning to them, waiting in collective breath for the next move. The battle had shifted, and with this newfound understanding, the stakes had risen to a perilous new height, casting a dark shadow over the path that lay ahead. Nyx.
You're back, but barely. What did you find?
Vesper.
The Enforcers. They're planning to harness the Songline's power. They're not just after us. They're after control of everything.
Joy.
They're moving tonight, a prototype device. It's transporting a fragment across the city. If we don't stop them, it's over.
Pemulway.
We move now. Every second counts. This ends tonight.
As they prepared for the mission, the gravity of their task settled over them like a suffocating shroud, each of them acutely aware of the immense stakes. The weight of what they were about to undertake pressed down on their shoulders, a constant reminder of the dangers that lay ahead. Every movement was made with deliberate care, every word spoken in hushed tones, as if the very air around them was charged with the enormity of their responsibility. They knew the risks, each one more perilous than the last, but the alternative was unthinkable. Failure meant more than just their lives. It meant the collapse of everything they fought for, the end of the fragile hope they had managed to kindle in the darkness. The path before them was fraught with peril, but to turn back now would be to surrender that hope, and that was a price none of them were willing to pay. The city's rooftops sprawled out before them, a glittering labyrinth of neon lights and towering structures that pulsed with a life of their own. The air was electric with tension, every breath charged with urgency as the team moved with purpose. Their target locked firmly in sight. The landscape above the city was a precarious path of high-rise peaks and narrow ledges, a domain where only the bold or the desperate dared to tread. Here, among the glowing signs and humming power grids, they were both, a band of fighters driven by necessity, racing against the clock, every step a calculated risk in the maze of steel and light. The soft thud of their footsteps echoed across the concrete rooftops, blending with the distant hum of traffic far below, a constant reminder of the world they fought to protect. Occasionally, the sharp crackle of energy arced from rooftop generators, adding an unpredictable edge to their path. The team moved like shadows, leaping from building to building with fluid, synchronized precision, a testament to their trust in one another and their shared resolve. Overhead, drones buzzed with relentless vigilance, their sensors sweeping the area, searching for any trace of the intruders. But the team remained quick and elusive, determined to stay one step ahead of the mechanical eyes that hunted them from above. Nyx.
Eyes on the target, everyone. We can't let it slip away now.
Jai.
We've got mercenaries closing in fast. They're right on our tail.
Pemulway.
Don't stop. I'll cover you. Just get to the extraction point.
As the mercenaries close in, the night exploded with the sharp crack of gunfire, the chaos of the chase reaching a fever pitch. Pemulway moved with unyielding focus, his agility and instincts guiding him as he outmaneuvered the attackers, each leap across the rooftops a calculated risk. The buzz of drones swarmed overhead, their cold, mechanical eyes tracking every move, while the wind whipped past, adding to the sense of urgency. The clamour of pursuit echoed through the urban canyon, the city itself seeming to vibrate with the intensity of the conflict. On a narrow ledge, Pemulway confronted the lead mercenary, their breaths ragged, their eyes locked in a fierce glare. The fragment between them was more than just a piece of technology, it was a lifeline, and they fought with a desperation that bordered on primal. Each blow they exchanged was filled with brutal intent, the ledge beneath them barely wide enough to contain their struggle, as they battled not just for the fragment, but for control over the fate it represented. The fight was brutal, each strike a raw clash of wills, their desperation palpable in every blow. Sweat stung Pemulway's eyes, but he ignored the burn, his focus narrowing to the fragment that hung in the balance. With a final desperate move, he launched himself from the rooftop, the wind whipping past him as he extended his hand. Time seemed to slow as he caught the fragment mid-air, the cool metal pressing into his palm, just as he landed on the next building with a jarring thud. Behind him, the mercenaries skidded to a halt, their expressions twisted with frustration as they watched their prize slip through their fingers. Pemulway's heavy breathing filled the night, mingling with the distant sounds of the city below and the fading whir of the drones as they reluctantly began to retreat, defeated for now. Nyx.
We've got the fragment. We need to move before they regroup and overwhelm us.
Pemulway.
This fight isn't over. This is just the beginning of what's to come.
In the quiet of the city's edge, the team gathered, their breaths mingling with the soft night air as the fragment rested securely in Pemulway's hand. The tension that had gripped them through the night eased slightly, giving way to a brief moment of relief. Yet, even in that fleeting calm, the weight of what lay ahead hung over them, unspoken but palpable, reminding them that the battle was far from over. The soft rustle of leaves in the night breeze, the distant hum of the city's neon lights, and the gentle buzz of the fragment's energy filled the air, weaving a fragile sense of calm around them. Crow stepped forward, his movements deliberate and reverent as he took the fragment from Pemulway, carefully placing it with the others. The team watched in silence as the fragment's energy merged with the collection, a faint glow spreading through the pieces, illuminating their weary faces with a light that held both the promise of hope and the ominous reminder of the fight yet to come. Crow.
The Songline is mending, but this will only make the enforcers more desperate. They'll come at us harder, and they won't stop until they break us.
Pemulway.
Let them come. We've faced worse. We'll be ready. This fight is just beginning, and we'll see it through to the end.
The team stood together, bound by a shared resolve that had been forged in the fires of countless battles. The city stretched out before them, a chaotic blend of glittering beauty and lurking danger, its neon lights casting long shadows over the streets below. Yet, in the heart of that chaos, where most would see only fear and uncertainty, they found their purpose, a purpose that had driven them this far and would carry them through whatever lay ahead. As dawn broke over Sydney, the first light of day stretched across the rooftops, casting long golden shadows that danced with the promise of a new beginning. The team stood on the rooftop, the soft chirping of morning birds and the distant hum of the waking city creating a serene yet charged atmosphere. A gentle breeze ruffled their clothing, but nothing could shake the determination etched into their faces. The songline called to them, a melody that intertwined hope with challenge, and they answered with unwavering resolve. Together, they looked out over the city, each of them steeling themselves for the trials ahead. Pemulway stepped forward, his gaze locked on the horizon, as if seeing the path before them with absolute clarity. Pemulway.
The future is uncertain, the path ahead, fraught with danger. But with the songline as our guide, we'll navigate whatever challenges lie before us. Together, we'll restore the balance, whatever the cost.
Songline's journey just begun. With the power of the past fractured lens.
We are the Story Brothers, and we invite you to join us on an extraordinary journey into the world of storytelling and AI. Together, we'll delve into an endless sea of stories, ideas, and topics, pushing the boundaries of imagination with the power of generative AI. Our mission? To see just how far we can take these tales. Intrigued? If you like what you hear, please share our adventure. Got requests or feedback? Don't be a stranger. We'd love to hear from you. Cheers to new beginnings and endless possibilities.